Hello everyone, it's day 3. We are gradually making serious progress, aren't we? I'm so excited to be here again this evening. Wow. Okay, so like we always do, let's give God thanks for today. King of glory, we thank you. We adore your holy name. We bless you. We thank you, Lord, for starting this journey with us. We thank you, Lord, for how far you have helped us to cover. Thank you, Lord, because you are the God of all knowledge. You are the one who knows how to translate knowledge into the hearts of your children in such a way that they can make use of it and run with it. Your word tells us, oh God, that we are not meant to be hearers alone, but doers. Father, already you have given us the grace to hear. Not everyone will sit down in a place and begin to gather knowledge this way. But beyond that, that's the grace to hear. We thank you. But beyond that, oh God, the grace to begin to do, to indeed live by that scripture that says, teach us to number our days and apply our years ourselves unto wisdom. Lord God, help us. Beyond the letters, oh God, let each and every one hear a voice behind them saying, this is the way to go. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen. So. If you're here if you're here, like I always say, and you're excited, let's just have it in the comments. Just tell me that you're here. Thank you for joining. Today I want to specifically say thank you for everyone that has gone on this course. Life is all about impact, and one of the ways to impact people is to take what you have learned, practice it, begin to live by it, and as your life begins to change, other people begin to come to you for help. And that's how impact is. We first ensure that our own life is in order, and then every other person around us that our hands, can reach to bless and impact, we also do the same thing. All right, so I'm waiting for the comments. I'm waiting. I'm here. Say I'm here and I'm excited. It's day 3. We've come thus far. Day 1, day 2, day 3. I'm so excited. Thank you all. May God bless you tremendously. So let's get in straight on to today's discourse. And again, the feedbacks have been encouraging. God bless you all. The feedbacks have been encouraging. It was worth the work. Hearing those feedbacks, it was worth the work. I designed all of this myself, the colorings, my PDFs, everything, my designs, everything. It was worth the work. Hearing those feedbacks is encouraging for me. May God continue to strengthen us all on this path of purpose in Jesus' name. All right, so let's just quickly go on to module 3. We're saying the fusion. MMM. Many of us knew when MMM was raining. All right, then the fusion. Your music ministry, your marriage, your motherhood. Now, motherhood is, I know there are guys here, I know there are men here, and honestly, the tips, I'm talking from the angle of a woman in marriage. So whether you're a man here, you're definitely going to be a man in marriage. But I like finding things that are easy to remember, so that's why I just pick the word motherhood. So music ministry, marriage, motherhood, but it's all about blending those 3 seasons of our life. You may be single now, but we know that it is wisdom to at least gather knowledge from maybe those that have stepped into marriage, music ministers that have stepped into marriage and have been able to hold all those pillars well. And then also when the seeds of the Lord, get into your hands, because it's God that gives us children. When He begins to trust you with the next generation to mother and to father, these seasons, so I'm talking about navigating and balancing the transitions. You would agree with me that music ministry is capital intensive. So it's capital intensive, and marriage in itself has its own demands, and then when the children comes again, it have its own demands. There are families that have had those kind of crunch moments simply because, oh, the wife is into music and she feels like, oh, you are not investing in my music, you are not doing everything, is only about your business, blah 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 blah. But there's wisdom, to manage these seasons. All right, so we'll just move on. Okay. And so I'm starting today with 7 big reasons why people find it difficult to manage this trial, MMM. 7 reasons why people in this, that are like me, have a strong sense of call into the music ministry, and then they have maybe other expressions of their life. They also have a family, they're in marriage. Why do they find it difficult to manage this trial? Now, some of these reasons are written here that I have discovered. Number 1 is the inability to identify their values from day one. Inability to identify their values and stay with them despite external and societal pressures. So what do I mean here? I could remember that as far back as I was 16 or 17, that was when I knew that the Lord had something to do with me as far as music was concerned. I had a major encounter, and such that I can never forget. When you have encounters like that, God sends them so that it will be a major pointer to where He's leading you. Mine was not so dramatic, as it were, but it's a memorable one. I can't deny the fact that the Lord, came to me. Now, inability to identify your values and stay with them. So as early as that time, I knew that this music thing was a long haul for me. It was not something I was going to dilly-dally in, move out, in and out, and or maybe because situations permit or not permit, I won't do it. My conviction was strong. And so even when I was going to make my decision into settling down, I already had it in mind that whoever I'm going to settle with must understand this part of my life. I'm not in it for play. So even if I'm going to get a job, maybe he met me in the bank and we met in the bank, or maybe met at a phase where I wasn't really actively doing something in terms of the music ministry or the music calling that God had given to me. He had to know that, whatever I'm doing now is periodical. It's just for a short time. So identifying your values and staying with them despite external and societal pressures. So at a phase when you are still single, so to say, you need to be able to establish your values and not dance around them, so that eventually when whoever God is going to bring to you to stay with or settle with, it becomes a pointer to the decisions you are making. You already have that strong conviction and you are holding it, and you're like, this is me, and this is what I see about my life. So it's either the person comes in and accommodates that entire picture of who you are as you're portraying it to him, or he does not. All right, so that's one part. Now, your values as well in terms of family. Now, I would want to, as much as I teach, one of the best ways that I teach and coach people is I try to use my experience, my own stories, to paint a very rich picture for you. So there was a point in my life, my first job, when I left university. I did my master's immediately. I left school by the Lord's leading, just following the Lord. So I did my master's at the time, and then the first job that I got like 3 jobs at the same time. I read environmental chemistry and pollution control. So I got a job by a new starting oil company, so to say, that was going to accommodate me as an environmentalist. And then I got a job to Intercontinental Bank. I got an offer into a Continental Bank. I was still going to do interview and all of that. Then I got one more, I can't really remember, I think it was Shell or something, to come and do a test, or so to say. So it was the 3 of them that I had to sit with. Now I remember that, so the 3 was then I was just like, Lord, what exactly am I going to do? But I went for all the tests, and then I passed virtual. I passed 2. I was still expecting that of the shell and everything, but even then I needed to make a decision with this, but I was just following through. I remember that the CEO of the startup oil company that was going to be resided in Port Harcourt, then I was living with my parents in Lagos. The CEO called for a one-on-one meeting with me. I think then in Mr. Biggs we had a face-to-face interview, and I passed the interview. And then when he told me everything that was going to come with the job, it was very, very juicy. I remember he said I was going to go on a 3 months training for outside the country. I remember he said I was going to have my I was going to move to Port Harcourt, and then so many things. It was really, really juicy. And at that time I was already engaged to my husband, and yes, we're already engaged. And then we're always talking about our lives, our visions, and everything. We pray together, we do many things together. So at that point in time, when that decision came, I wanted to make decision alone. There's wisdom in all of these things. I wanted to kind of make the decision alone with God. And I was praying to God about the Lord. I needed to know what he was saying. And so eventually when the Lord was going to give me a word, I knew God said, he said, the first is the Lord's. Okay, so when I got here, I said, the first is the Lord's. Then I looked at how the letters of employment came, or the letters of interview, and the first that came to me at the time was that of Intercontinental Bank. So I understood what God was saying, that the first is the Lord's. But as someone who really wanted to build a career or something with environmental, in fact, not even that, I wanted the money. I was like, oil company, blah blah blah. So it was hard for me to leave. Sorry, the story is getting really long, but I hope that we'll learn 1 or 2 things from it. Then eventually, I said, my husband just got talking, then engaged. They were just talking, and he just said something, reminded me about our values, some of the things we have talked about in terms of we're not going to start our marriage differently. At least the first, we told ourselves then that at least the first 5 years we're going to live together, grow together with the children and all of that. So when he said that, in the midst of discussion, when he said that, my heart just prayed and said, Guy, but this was one of your strong values. And I knew why I wanted those values. My parents were career people, and thank God that we were grounded in the Lord and everything. But all of those gaps were still there, and thank God, because of Christ, so many things covered up at the end of the day. But I made some of those values because of how my growing up was, and when you actually wanted your parents there and you really didn't get it. So he reminded me of that value, and eventually it helped me to make the decision that I wanted to make. And I was like, the first is the Lord. This other one is going to take me away from what I want to build. I had strong family values, and I said, okay, this is it. I'm going to go for this intercontinental job. That was a bank job, and that didn't even look like it was in sync with the masters that I had taken. But newsflash, this was what happened. 6 months after I had taken the bank job, I got to realize that the oil company had crashed. It was no more. So you can imagine, if I had not gone with the Lord's instruction, and even maybe if I had even buried my values along the line, nobody knows what would have happened. But inability to identify their values and to stay with them despite external and social pressures is one of the reasons why people find it hard to manage this trial. So some people, for some women, maybe their values for wealth and money supersedes their value for marriage. And so, but you know what, my own pointer to you today is, be clear on what your values are as far as music, as far as family is concerned. All right, so number 2, the mindset and belief that it is difficult and impossible. It's a difficult and impossible task to accomplish. That is difficult. And so for some people, they realize, I'm not doing. So in their heart, they desire that, oh, they should settle down and build a home and build a family with someone. But because of the fear of maybe it's not possible to manage these two, or maybe something from their past, a failed home, an unbalanced marriage from their parents and all of that, makes them have that phobia of actually settling down and really having this trial put together as their heart would desire. Number 3, some people think that only having money answers everything. Money doesn't answer everything. Without wisdom, money won't answer everything. So some people think that only having money to spend can create this balance. And so for everything, it is money. When it comes to when your children come into the picture, if you're going to settle down, or even when it comes to when your wife or husband is going to, there are some things money will not do. As far as that is concerned, it cannot replace the space or the presence of your wife at home, you at home. It cannot replace, money can replace your unique creativity as far as your music is concerned. Money cannot replace the feeding of your spirit as far as what we are doing here is concerned. So some people think that only money. So when you think that way, on the outside it may look like you are balanced, but truthfully, internally, it's not auguring well, so to say. At number 4, let me quickly rush this. At number 4, the unconscious thought pattern that tells you that music calling is more important than family or vice versa. So I've seen couples who are both musically inclined. I've seen Christians who are both into who are both called into music, so to say, not fulfilling their vision, not fulfilling what they're supposed to do, because they don't have they have that, how will I put it, the unconscious thought pattern that as far as my music is concerned, it's number 1. As far as family is concerned, it's number 2. Or as far as family is concerned, it's number 1. As far as purpose in terms of music and all of that is concerned, it's number 2. But my number 5 now tries to explain. Okay, it's not here. Okay, so, but I have a mentality, let me just say here, I have a thought pattern that tells me that God wants me to have it all. He wants me to have it all. I will tell people that the God over your music ministry, is the God over your family ministry. In fact, I tell them it's family ministry. Your God over your music ministry is God over your family ministry. God will not say you should focus on music ministry and then forget family. Why? Because the two institutions were created by Him. Your profession and then the institution of marriage and family was created by Him. So He can't say, take this one more important than taking this one. What He expects us to do is to build capacity to be able to build all well and be successful at all. At number 5, the inability to identify and name the season of life or ministry that you are in as a music minister would make it hard for you. Now, there are people who skip processes. All right, so the inability, now, it's possible to be so consumed with the zeal of wanting to project your brand as a music minister at the expense of your family, or yes, at the expense of your family. Now, there are different seasons. There's a time when your season in marriage is very young. There are things you're supposed to do there and nurture it. Yes, there's a time when give attention to nurturing the early years of your marriage, and so there are times when people miss out on the season that they are in, so they just want to do everything at the same time. Now, inability to identify and name the season that you're in, even in terms of marriage, makes it hard for you to balance things. Inability for you to not identify the season that you're in as well as a music minister makes it hard. So for like a music minister, identified that there's a formative season for you, there's the testing season for you, there's the launch season for you, there's the waiting or the spread season. This one, I'm not touching it at all in this course. But there's a formative season where you are just just getting formed in the place of your calling. You're still getting formed. You're just getting to listen to yourself. You just started singing in the choir. You're just getting to know your voice. People are just telling, oh, you have a nice voice. You have that. You have not built character. You have not even, you're just, showing up as a committed person who knows that God wants to use my voice. There's the formative season. Then there's the testing season where you're now handed little responsibilities, and then they're seeing how you are performing. All right, and when you have done that for a while, then there's now the launch season when you're like, okay, I have found my voice. I think I know what I stand for. I've been able to write a song and I want to create a product, and then you launch, and then after you have launched again, there's another waiting season. Okay. All right. So the inability to identify and name the season that you are in, makes it hard for some people to manage this trial. Now, at number 6 is the abuse of your productive or energy cycle. When you are not maximizing, we'll talk about the energy cycle later on, so let me not dwell on it here. But the abuse of managing your productive cycle, your productivity map and your energy cycle also makes it hard to manage this trial. And then at number 7 is to refuse to adapt to new technologies that can positively speed up your results. So for example, people still are not picking when I tell some people as a musician that are you using this, are you using your Google, are you saving drive, are you using that, why are you still using flash drive? There are technologies that can positively speed up your results and just take away stress from you. For example, look at me holding this coaching call from the comfort of my home, using my laptop and data and everything, as opposed to paying so much money, getting people to come and stay in a hall and all of that. So one needs to learn how to adapt to new technologies and be future forward in adapting things that would help you to manage this season of your life. So look at me now. I'm at home. I'm having a coaching exposition. My children are right there in the sitting room. They're on holiday. I can hear what they are doing. I can take a little bit of time, go prepare their lunch, come back, do my business, my hair business. I have a web, everything is carried on my phone. My business app is, what's it called, my WhatsApp status business is really loaded with enough pictures. People are saying, I want to buy this here, I want to buy this. I'm giving them prices, I'm doing this. So you need to be able to just stretch. There's what we call creative stretch. Stretching yourself is different from stressing yourself. So let's quickly run. Okay, before we kick off with this one, tell me you are following me, and tell me just one or two things, maybe two or three people. Just buzz me in the comment section. Tell me what stood out for you in the last discourse we just had. What stood out for you in the 7 big reasons why people find it difficult to manage this trial? What hits you in your heart? What quickened you in your heart and said, I think I need to watch out for this? All right, just leave those comments there for me and I'll pick them as we go on. I want to see it. I want to read it. Okay, quickly. Awesome. Wow. Good. Okay, so 8 true thoughts to come to terms with as a music minister or a music creative if you must balance this trial effectively. 8 true thoughts to come to terms with as a music minister if you must balance this trial, your music ministry, your marriage, and your motherhood. Number 1, I want you to carry the mindset that says, my music is my baby, my marriage is my baby, my motherhood is my baby. placing all of them on the same pedestal. My music is my baby, my marriage is my baby, my motherhood is my baby. As I'm making progress in my music, I'll be making progress in my marriage. I'll be making progress as far as nurturing the seeds God has given me is concerned. Now, at number 2, you should also understand that God over one of these pillars is the same God over all the pillars. He is not more interested in your music as a profession and an act of service than he is interested in your marriage and motherhood. Your marriage is a service unto God, just as your motherhood is, and just as your music ministry is. I hope we get that. Okay, now number 3. So what you're going to tell yourself is that it's going to be 100% attention and systems from me across the 3. 100% attention. Yes, it is not 50-100 or 30-50-100. No, 100% attention to all, 100% attention to your music, 100% attention to your marriage, 100% attention to your motherhood. Number 4, assume that the Proverbs 31 woman was a music minister and tell yourself that that would be me. In fact, one of my life-changing one of my big moments in my growing as a music minister was when I had a deep insight and study of the Proverbs 31 woman. And after I had that study, God began to show me other images of women in the Bible that carried all these mantles well. He showed me Deborah. He also showed me Lydia. I think that woman in Acts Apostle, he described her as a business tycoon and someone who was devoted to the work of the Lord. And so I told myself that, see, if God could write about the Proverbs 31 woman in those days and in those times where they didn't even have the added advantage of the Holy Spirit, where they didn't have the added advantage of technology like we do, and so many other additions of civilization and all of that, and God just painted the picture of an ideal woman that way, successful across all fronts, holding all the pillars right, then that will be me. If he's going to look for somebody in this day and time to write about that, it will be me. And so that mindset has driven me. So if when people are saying all they're saying, to bless them, that's your life, but this is the thought I've chosen to live by. Now, number 5, you're going to tell yourself, I must become elastic enough to accommodate the stretch that is needed. You can't be saying, I can do this, I cannot do this, I will do this, I will not do this. See, so long is going to be an added advantage that pushes me on the path of forward as far as these 3 pillars are concerned, then I'm in the game. That's it. I must become elastic enough to accommodate the stretch that is needed. Now, I remember when trap music just came into the flow of worship and praise, when contemporary music was evolving and growing and trap music came into the flow. Then I was just used to singing a lot of soul music, and trap came into the scene. And normally everybody has a comfort terrain, a comfort zone. You have mastered something, and as soon as something new comes into the picture, there's usually that first internal struggle. You don't just want to give into it, and you feel like this doesn't matter there, let me just stay on my lane. But sometimes, you see, when you have that kind of mindset, you get relegated soon. You will be at the backside soon. Why? Because future forward is the game. So I told myself, okay, how do I adapt to this? So the first thing was, my music director at the time was someone who had a very strong stand as far as hip-hop music and trap music was concerned. I'm not so good at going online to search for songs. Even till today, I'm not. What I do is I get people, what are the new songs in town? Give them to me. I get a flash, they give them to me. I meet my husband, he downloads as many as possible, gives them to me. I just come sit down on my laptop and I start to arrange. I'm like, okay, these are faith songs, these are these songs, that song, and I just put. So I just got a lot of those trap songs and all of that. and I put them together, and I was just listening to them, trying to just get used into the flow and all of that. So that was one thing that I did. Another thing that I did was that every time during the rehearsals, I am there 80%. My rehearsal time is rehearsal time. I don't do carryover. If I don't know the song at least 80% from that rehearsal, then as far as I'm concerned, I've called it a waste of time. I cannot go to a rehearsal, spend 2 hours, 3 hours, and I'm still going back home to go and recycle. So when I'm at rehearsals, I am very attentive. I hardly forget instructions because that's how I've chosen to live. So you must become elastic enough to accommodate the stretch that is needed in your industry. Remember, I told you cannot segregate music ministry and music industry. The two must be together. So what is happening for most music ministers that are in the church is that they just focus on church worship, and all of that, and then they are lost from what the industry is actually, how the industry is actually growing. They have no idea about how music business is going on now. They have no idea about how to, showcase themselves or things going on. No idea. All right. So sometimes you just have to become elastic enough. Be elastic enough. Okay, so at number 6, stretch and stress are not the same, even if they both carry a dose of discomfort. Stretch and stress are not the same. When you think of stretch, you realize that it has a positive gain in front of you. But then when you think of stress, sometimes you just realize that there's a downturn as far as it is concerned. Really no addition, so to say. So at number 7, no season is a waste. All right, no season, as far as all of these 3 pillars, is a waste. If at this point in time all that is taking your attention is family, and you are invested in your children, see, we'll get there. I'll show you the seasons of life and cycles that I have gone through. And today I'm sitting down and I'm saying, God, I thank you that I followed you. I thank you that I gave into all of this. I look at my children and I'm like, God, I thank you. And I'll tell you I can go back to the values. I can remember one of the values I said, then I said, God, I don't want to raise ajebota children. I want to raise independent children. One of the things that helped me was that, yes, I went to a boarding school, and even though I don't want my kids to go to it, but the boarding school really made me independent. So I know what it's the addition of having to sit down and think for myself and create solutions for myself. I know what it takes to see a problem. I can never be stranded because I look at something, no matter how small it is. There were seasons in my life or in my family's life where I had literally only 100 naira to prepare something for the children or to prepare something for us to eat. I will prepare a meal with 100 naira. That was the advantage of boarding school, where you sit down and you think of solutions around the problem at hand. And so I'll tell myself, I don't want to do it for me children and we do everything for them. No, I want to raise independent children. God, give me wisdom. They may not go to boarding school, but I know this is what I want. And I began to use all of that, to make my decisions. So no season is a waste. There was a time where I had to be a stay-home mom, so to say, when the bank shrunk. We'll get there. So no season is a waste. It has an input in God's big kingdom agenda. God has a plan with the family structure. God has a plan with the music structure. Yes, they are all mountains of relevance. Music is under the mountain of entertainment, music and entertainment. Family is under, marriage is under the mountain of families. Marriage is under the mountain of families, and there is no waste. You are imputing in all of this with all of your heart. You are doing something great as far as God's kingdom agenda is concerned. All right. Yesterday somebody said I'm a bit too fast. Okay, so I hope today I'm not a bit too fast. I'm not too fast. Okay, so let's just swallow all that in, everything that we have just talked about, the 7 big reasons and then the 8 big thoughts you need to have into having to manage this fusion well. Because on a large scale, I'm very sure more than 70% or 75% of the average human being wants to settle down and build a great home, isn't it? The desire is there, and I truly believe that it's God that puts that desires in us. So it's just wisdom to just stretch our minds and gather everything that we can gather as far as succeeding in that part is concerned. All right, so creating systems and structures. So I'm here again with something I have drawn here, and I needed to draw that because, okay, let me pick something else here. I needed to draw that this chart because it will help me to explain to you the seasons of life that I have been through. So between 2008 and 2023, that is here right now, between 2008 and 2023, 2013, yes, I was within the banking system. So that would be like a career woman. I was within the banking system. That was the first job I said that I got, and I was there for almost 5 years. I was there for 4 years and 8 months, so to say. So I that was that cycle, and at that time I think I got married roughly 2008 as well. 2008, yes, I got married 2008, and so I was here. And then between 2013 and 2002, in 2013, that was where banks shrunk. And even before then, I'd been having the triggers that I won't be here for long, because when I sat down and I looked into the future, I didn't see me doing anything with banking. I saw most of my mates taking certifications and all of that, and nothing inside of me was saying I'll take those certifications. So I was like, why stay here and just keep staying? Meanwhile, I needed to get on the lane that I know that God had called me into. So I was here 2008, and between 2008 and 2013, and then I shifted here again. My status changed here again between as in this point, my status changed here, and between 2013 and 2020, I was the music minister and the stay-home mom. Okay, and then between and then between 2014 and 2023, so I was here as well. I was here. Okay, so it's like there's a coincidence between here and here. No, okay, so this 2013, so this is 2014. So between there was a dwindle between these two, because while I was a stay-home mom, in between these years I started building my business. I started giving attention to building my hair business here. So I was concentrating more on my entrepreneurial skill and everything here, and till now I'm building that business. I know right now we're at the point of scaling up and trusting God that I won't have to be at the forefront of things anymore. So right here is where I am right now. Don't mind my circles. So this is where I am right now. So worship leader, music minister, and coach, and 2020 ongoing. I put 2020 here because it was in 2020 God began to give me prophetic insights as to this was the next phase of my life. And so between 2020 and late 2022, I was just going through a lot of trainings. I was reading, attending sessions, paying for classes, trying to understand more of tech and all of that. So I was learning, even while I was still building up as a worship minister. So creating systems and structures. It's so important that we understand that building structures and systems around your life is not a copy and paste approach. I was trying to remember a quote someone said at a time where he said, everyone is a mirror of the systems and structures he has put around his or her life. So if you see somebody who is consistently drained, who is consistently tired and not looking good, feeling stressed with everything he or she is doing, then you can narrow it down to wobbly structures and systems around their life, and this will not be us. However, here I'm saying that our building of structures and systems, that is everything I'll be sharing with us today, it's not, so to say, meant to be a copy and paste approach. Because Sister Iba did her own this way, then this is exactly what I'll do. If you take one and you're like, this will fit into my life and into my family, into my everything, this would work, then awesome. But then if it doesn't work, what I tell people is get the principles and then recreate them to suit your life per time and per season. At number 2, you must seek to gain understanding of what to adapt per season to keep you balanced across all the 3 M's. At number 3, systems will and may change, and they may not change from time to time. So if it changes, fine. If it doesn't change, fine. And it's still giving you the desired result, then awesome. So what I'll be doing after this slide is I will share with you the practical things that I did per season so that it can now be a guide for you in whatever season you find yourself. Now, the truth is it could be difficult to... I just figure that one of the best ways to pass across this knowledge is to really come home and say, okay, when we're here, this and this is what we did, so that it's more relatable. All right, so let's get on to it. So I'm going to be sharing with you what I call the T.E.R.R.A.T.E structural system. I was in a training one time, and then they shared the system with me. They called it the Greater Model. And so I just took it and tweaked it to suit me, so like I'm saying here, the big hack is to have a system that leads to your desired outcomes around the 3 M's. I can say this over and over again. You know your desired outcome, that as far as for example, me, as far as my home is concerned, I want to be involved in my children's life. I want to be involved in my husband's life. I don't want to lose my simplicity for anything. I don't want to be who I'm not. I don't want to be... in doing my music, I don't want to lose my voice. I don't want to lose my passion. I know my desired outcome. I want to be wealthy, but not at the expense of my faith. I want to blow. I want to be known all over the world in terms of my music, but not at the expense of my faith, not at the expense of my values. I'm not going to come somewhere and I'll tell you, you'll be tested across all of this platform. I want to do business, but not at the expense of my faith, my values. I can remember a time when they were giving people were giving a friend of mine who is in Abuja, who seemed to be working in a government parastatal, wanted me to get some funds to support my hair business and all of that. But then, and I think it was going to be like 1.5 million and all of that. So across the line, there were things that when he told me I was going to do, I said, well, once they do this, I'll give this cut. And I said, well, as much as I'm pressured that I know I need money to boost my business, I'm not sure I want to do this. I don't know if it's bad, but somewhere inside of me, it doesn't sit well with me. And so I didn't even bother telling my husband about it. I didn't tell anybody. I just made my decision. I appreciated him, but I didn't go for it. So I'm not ready to do anything at the expense of my faith. My values are clear. They are clear to me. All right. So I know, so I can't say that too much. So what is a system? A system is a repeatable arrange of events or to-dos that keeps you in touch with your 3 M's. You know what the 3 M's are, right? So you are looking for that perfect mix that suits your person, across the expressions in every season that shows up. so it's clear. A system is a repeatable arrange of events or to-dos that keeps you in touch with your 3 M's. You are looking for the perfect mix. That's the word here. The perfect mix that suits you across the expressions in every season. So let's talk about the T.E.R.R.A.T.E structural system. The target, your energy flow out and energy circle. T represents the target. E, energy flow out and energy circle. R, your rituals, your regimens, rosters. Then the second R, relationships. A, active actions. The second T is tax estimation. And then the last E is the engrossment. T.E.R.R.A.T.E structural system. Okay, so targets. We know what target is. So if you see this drawing that I put here, I'm asking, where gangan are you going? Is it this way? Is it this way? Is it this way? Is it this way? Or is it always? Some people don't know where they are going. They don't have a clear, they haven't given to that discipline or exercise and saying that, okay, this is where I want to achieve, and I want to break it down into 1 year goal. So for example, one of my goals this year, as far as my music brand was concerned, was that I told God I want to reach out to 5,000 music ministers. I want to touch at least 5,000 music creatives, young, middle age, for him this year. And along the line, I just said, okay, my music is ongoing, fine, but a better way for me to do this is if I can create products that would empower them and leverage the digital space to reach as many people as possible. Now, if that goal was not clear, my heart was burning to be a blessing to the next generation of music entrepreneurs and all of that. The goal was clear, and I was like, I gave it a number. I can't just say I want to reach out, I want to bless people, and not have, a kind of number attached to it. Attaching the number to it gave me an idea of what kind of work that I would need to do, or what kind of products that I will need to put out there. So target. So in simple terms, what is your clear picture of an ideal life? Your desired outcomes should be clear. In terms of my business, it's clear. I want to scale it up. I want it to begin to function without me. And we're already working towards that. So I tell people, take a trip into the future and just come to terms with what you see. Take a trip into the future. Now, sometimes for people, when you say the future, it feels like so vague. Some people can't see into 10 years, into 15 years, and it's not a crime. I'm still yet to train myself into seeing into 10 years, 20 years. Some people have that grace. They know how to think big and think far. I first started with, okay, see into the end of this year. What would make you smile at the end of this year? So when I reach the end of that year, and I'm like, okay, if I've achieved this at the end of this year, so project again, I enter into the next year after. So after I've achieved this, what do I now want to achieve? I enter. That's how I began to train myself to begin to see between 3 years up front. All right, so take a trip into the future. If the future that you're seeing right now is the end of 2023, so be it. And you say, okay, by end of 2023, as far as my targets are concerned, in terms of my music, in terms of my marriage, this is what I want to see. Put it down, and I'll draw the systems that will now help you together. So take a trip into the future and come to terms with what you desire. State clearly so that you can target right without any form of coercion or competition. I am my greatest competition. I see what people do, I admire it, and I'm like, okay, I like that, but that I'm in competition with, I don't even buy the idea of competition in the kingdom of God. What I tell people, I say, we are workers together. We are collaborators. All right. So if you're doing something and it's doing the kingdom good, I'm happy with you. If it's something I can take and build into my system as well, fine, I'm going to come to you, ask you questions. How did you achieve this? If you don't teach me, I find somebody else. But I don't have a competition, because the truth of the matter is we all are unique in our calling. God may call us into similar things, but because he has created us uniquely, he's not asking us to do it the same way. So you see that we are collaborators and not competition. Yeah. So identify your spiritual desires, your professional desires, spiritual desires. How rich do you want your spirit to be? Do you want to always operate from a starved spirit? When your spirit is starved, what are you going to do to ensure that you are bouncing up again? Do you always want to minister from a place of -1, or you want to minister from the overflow? Professional desires. How far do you want to go in your music? How far do you want to go? Financial desires. What would you like to use money to achieve? Have it. No. At least have it. I want to make so and so from this year. I want to make so and so from this year. Just train yourself in that line. What I realized that people do is, for example, a music minister who has a job, he will set goals for the job and everything. I want to be, but when it now comes to spiritual things, he will not set goals. When it comes to the music call, he will not set goals. Why? It's not supposed to be so. Your marital desires, how LD do you want it to be? It is nice to start. If you have ever desired to want to settle down, it's going to have to start now. It's going to have to start now. Start thinking about it. How healthy do you want your marriage to be? How influential do you want it to be? How influential do you want to be? In terms of level of impact, what legacy do you want to build? So, for example, I was, in fact, a few minutes just before I went on this coaching call, I was just thinking, I was like, there's some circles that I want to find myself in. There's some communities that I want to find myself in, circles of, some high top business women, influential women in Nigeria. I'm going to ask myself, how do I penetrate these circles? And I said, one, the kind of programs that I attend would need to tweak. From this year, I'm going to be looking out for this kind of programs. Who do I know that, I'm going to look at what are the relationships around me that can get me closer into those kind of circles where those women have. So, how influential do you want to be? All right. So you need to think about that. Okay. So what magnitude of impact do you seek to have, especially for kingdom purpose? So if I'm saying I want to reach 5,000 souls today, what magnitude of impact? So attach numbers to it so that it also gives you the push on how you develop structures that will quickly help you achieve them. So energy flow, the T.E.R.R.A.T.E, the first E we talked about target, the second E we are talking about your energy flow out and your energy circle. Every one of us has an energy flow out and every one of us has an energy circle. Everything you're going to be doing, whether it's spiritual, is sapping from your energy flow out. Everything you're doing business is sapping. You're ministering in songs, even though it looks like near natural, is taken from your deposit of energy. So this is about knowing your battery gauge, your energy level, and apportioning activities to suit the level of energy you carry at that time. So there are times when I really feel like doing laundry. Permit me to also say that I didn't even, when we started out in my marriage, we first tried a housemaid. We got a housemaid. First time, 3 months, it was up and down to the person to go. The second time, we tried another person. That person stayed like 6 months. One day, we just came to the house and she was not there again. And she left. And at that point, my husband said that I only had my first baby at the time. Tolu was not even up to, that's my first daughter. She was barely, say, 7 months or so. And so my husband was like, he just gave flexibility. As far as I'm concerned, I think we can do without housemates. We'll manage. We'll make it work. And I was just grateful to God because this was somebody, when I married him, the first thing he told me is, I don't do chores. I don't do all those things. I don't do it. By the grace of God, we'll have a good home, we'll have this, but I should enter kitchen and do this, I should enter that and do this. I don't do it. He made it clear from the day one. And I remember I sat down like, God, I will not consider this one like this. I remember I asked him a question one day and I was like, okay, so if I'm not pregnant, uncle, and I need help and all of that, he said, I shall know that I don't do all those. That was the way he answered. But you see, eventually we didn't have to use housemaid. My marriage is 15 years. Everything we managed it through. Our values were clear. That we would rather have peace in the home. We would always prove our home is a peaceable habitation. We would rather have peace in the home than to say, in the name of we want to get housemaid and all the work chores, the house will not be dirty. There will be no peace. He's shouting here, he's shouting there. It was like, no, that the house be dirty is better than all this screaming up and down. And so there are times when I would want to do the laundry. So structures, like I said, would demand some of the things you buy in the home or the things you even trust God for. My first washing machine was neither my husband or myself that bought it. I used faith. I said, God, I'll put it before God. I said, I need this one. I need it. I can remember my birthday. One of my birthdays, somebody asked me, I said, give me three options. What do you want? I said, what do I want? As in what I want, So as at that time, what I wanted, I said I wanted a house. I want to live in a house. I shall give 3 things. I wanted a car. And then I said, I want a washing machine. A big washing machine. I put the 3 there. The person didn't see anything, but at least he got me the washing machine. So you see, it was faith. It wasn't even that I spent my money or something of that nature. So we are talking about apportioning activities to suit the level of energy you carry. So I was saying that there are times you'll be really pumped up. There's power to do some big chunks of work in the house. But there are times that those big chunks of work will be there in the house, but you don't feel like doing it. There's energy to do smaller things, So it's about understanding your energy flow out and energy cycle. For example, yesterday I went to my hair, outlet with the kids. And I told them, we are going to go and do this, we're going to go and do that, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. When we got there, they were all pumped up to work. But as soon as I got there, I just sat down and I was like, I don't know, I'm just feeling funny. So I just took my phone. I said, I need to rest. Give me Jennifer's diary. Give me Jennifer's diary, please. I want to just laugh and relax. So I was there watching. My first daughter was like, Mommy, is this what you came here to do? Is this what you came here to do? I did not answer her. I was just calm. But she didn't know I was watching the time. My aim was to leave there 6:30. At this time, it was like, say, I still had 2 hours to go. Mommy, is this what you are going to do? It was to 4. I said, calm down. I know what I'm doing. So I just stayed there. I watched. I laughed. I said, okay, go and buy me gari. I need to eat something. Go and buy me gari. I don't like buying food outside like that. I said, go and buy me gari, buy me milk, buy me that. And they brought it. I drank. We laughed and all of that. When I finished, I now stood up and I started walking. And then by 6:30, I just finished everything. So that's what I mean by apportioning activities to suit the level of energy you carry at that time. So what's your energy flow? Some seasons of life are birthing seasons, recharging seasons. Some seasons are draining seasons. For example, launching a work of art, like a new song, a concert, is a birthing season. The energy it will take for you to do a concert is not the same energy, in terms of your mind work, your body work, your everything. To do a concert is not the same energy you would deploy in releasing a single, even though it's also a birthing time. All right, it's not the same energy you're going to use to release this kind of coaching call, even though it's a birthing season. When you're releasing something new, something you've never done before, or something that's an upgrade of what you've done before, it's a birthing season. Having a baby is a birthing season. Writing a book is a birthing season. Loss of a loved one is a draining season. Maybe you lose someone, you lost money, you invested in something, you lost something. All of these that is how our energy cycle runs. Sometimes some things take out of the energy cycle, some things out of the energy deposit, sometimes some things add to it. So you need to understand this flow and position yourself, to give it all that it takes, so to say. So you need to understand that birthing seasons, there are recharging seasons, there are draining seasons. And once you can understand a major thing you want to achieve and the level of energy it will demand for you, it also helps you to know the kind of structures you put around yourself to ensure that you're not drained and you are not, fatigued. Birthing seasons must be maximized well, so that what must be born in due season must be born. All right, what must be born in due season must be born. Usually there is always a divine installment of energy to kickstart the work and finish it. But if not properly fueled, it can be lost. What starts with the spirit cannot be sustained with the flesh. Now let me explain. So for someone like me who I understand my energy flow, and I know when God is giving me a big vision. So sometimes, last year the last concert I had was June the 10th 2022. Now there are people who can plan a concert in 3 days. I don't know how they do it, or an entire program in 3 days. It must be a divine grace, but I'm not like that. So when I start catching a big vision, sometimes I know the way God works with me. Sometimes it just comes as a flash. It may come like 6 months before. It might even come like a year before. I just catch the flash and I say, okay, Father, when I see what to do, I ask how to do it, Lord. I ask when to do it, Lord. That's how I operate with God. So when I catch it, knowing my frame and my unique self, I don't say, oh yeah, we've caught vision, let's start. That's not how it works with me. So when I see God is asking me, okay, you're going to do another concert this year, I know that I need at least 6 months to plan. That's how I plan. I've never planned my concert in 2 months or 3 months. I've never. Because for me, to do God's work, it must be excellent. However, if he tells me, maybe tomorrow, because I don't put God in a box, if he tells me that this concert, I want you to do it in the next 2 months, then I know that the system and the blueprint he will give me will change. And I'm saying, okay, Lord, how? And I'll prayerfully try to get all that he wants me to do. It might mean me bringing more people on board, blah, 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 blah. And then I do it. But I also know that it takes a lot of energy from me. So it's not as soon as I finish the concert, I'm jumping up on another thing. No, I will refuel. I know myself. So, but there are some people who can go back to back, back to back, back to back. It's okay if that is you, but just ensure that you are not entering into cycles of overwhelm. That it looks like on the outside, so much is happening for you. People are praising you and all of that, but on the inside, you are dying, you are draining. All right, so you must give attention to what triggers your energy. Does praying trigger your energy? Does studying trigger your energy? Does quietness and solitude trigger your energy? Quietness and solitude does it for me. Early in the month of August, I just hope my stories are not too much. I don't want this thing to be too long, but I want us to just understand. And so I'm just trying to give these examples. Early in the month, August, we are still in August, right? Yes, so that was July. So July, after we had this praise session in our what's it called, church. In my branch, we had what we called buffet of worship. After buffet of worship, we now had to prepare again for the main, the entire HCC Nation praise event for the whole branches in Ibadan. We call it Praise That Blaze. So there was rehearsals again, in and out, with that still ongoing, with church work and all of that. And then we finished Praise That Blaze. And as soon as I finished Praise That Blaze, I was like, I need to retreat. And so for 1 whole week, I didn't do business. I didn't do anything. When I mean I didn't do business, I didn't go out of the house to go to the hair station, get people there, ask my girl to open once in a while. I didn't do any of that. I just stayed inside and I retreated. Listened to worship songs, listened to messages. Now listen to what happened to me. Something amazing happened. I said, God, this 1 week is for you. I need to refuel. I need to rejuvenate. The money, the sales that I made in that 1 week, in fact, till now I have to tell my husband, I said, I have never had, so we are into this hair sales and then revamping and all of that. And in that 1 week, I think we revamped close to like 30 pieces of wigs. Just coming, want to do this, what to do. I was like, by just staying away, giving God time, refueling myself. So it's not good to operate from a place of stress and overwhelm. That's what I mean. So you must give attention to what triggers your energy level. I needed that energy level to be out again. For you, it may be reading a book. For you, it may be watching a movie. For you, it may be hanging out with friends. For me, you may just go and chill out on your own, buy yourself some food and just, it may be that. For you, it may be loud music, like my first daughter. Loud music. For some, it may be soft music. But all I'm saying, and it may be none of this and so much more, but find it. Your energy circle. I'm trying to say here that our energy is not optimum all the day. So we are looking at 24 hours and try and watch yourself and say, okay, am I a night person or am I a day person? And the truth is, it changes with time. So there was a time in my life where I was so much of a night person. I'm active in the night. I come, that's when I do the reading, I do everything that I want to do. I'm active in fact, I can wake up in the night and be cleaning the house, what is not dirty. I'll be looking for something to do. I was that in it. But now, as soon as I clocked 40 and suddenly I'll say, I want to work in the night. I will wake up, I will not wake up. I'll stay up I'll sleep early, maybe by 10, and I'll not wake up until 4 or 5. I realized that my system had changed in recent times. So I said, it has to be a tweak here. But it took me a while to know that was what has happened, that my cycle and my body system had changed just after I clocked 40. I just kept pushing myself and thinking that, am I getting lazy? What's going on? And I'll keep wanting to wait in the night. Sometimes I'll wake up, by the time I'm just 1 hour through what I'm doing, I'm already weak again. So I don't stress it out anymore. So I think I have changed. So by now I move all my reading things and all of that during the day, and leave my night for resting. So understanding your energy cycle also work. Then number 3, the first hour, rituals and regimen, trying to introduce rosters into your system, into your structure, taking the chunk goal and breaking it down to simpler bits that you can deal with daily. This is about taking the chunk goal and breaking it down into simpler bits that you can deal with daily, weekly or monthly. It is what we do daily that helps achieve the big goals. So you've identified the big goals. So for example, let's say I want to raise my spiritual strength by reading a book every month or reading a book in 2 months. So at the end of the year, the goal is that I should have read 6 books in addition to whatever I've been reading before. So you're saying, okay, how can I break this into weekly goals or into daily goals? Am I going to be taking 1 chapter per day or something? So for example, like in church now, we are doing this synoptic gospels challenge where we are looking at finishing the book of Matthew, Mark, Luke, John in the space of 1 month. And what the pastor just said, if you take 3 chapters, he just made it simpler. If you're looking at everything big like that, when will I finish, but then breaking it and making it simpler was like 3 chapters a day, and you'll be surprised that you are done, because our focus in this month is Christ, knowing the Christ. So you're looking at the entire goal and you're breaking it into simpler chunks across your music, your marriage, and your ministry. So for example, marriage, there are simple things I do every day that fosters our relationship. For example, I've been doing it for years. Even if my husband does it or not, it is me who wants it. So I give my husband a big hug every morning. Every morning I do it before he goes out. My husband can just wake up and say, I'm going out, I have an appointment. I say, it is a must. So that's one thing that I do. I discuss my day with him. I will always go and come back, how's your day? This and this is what I did. It might not be everything, but I'll just tell him what He did. And then I tried to personally serve his meals. When I realized it was something he took personal, I personally serve his meals. Simple. The goal here is to have a cordial relationship with my husband, and vis-a-vis the kind of person he is and the kind of home that I have, I pick things, and my person, I pick the things that will work for me daily, that helps me to achieve that goal. All right, so for my motherhood, I bless my kids, laying hands on their head, having a connect. Sometimes, not every time I lay my hands on them, sometimes it's just be like, hey, come, I give you a hug, go. Sometimes I carry their bag for them into the car and all of that. I bless my kids before they go to, there's that connection before they go. I make sure that their meals, every time one person must be with me in the kitchen. We talk, we do all of that. Everyone knows their turn. The one with mommy in the kitchen today, you are the one with mommy in the kitchen tomorrow. The bond that I intend, I say I must have that bond. I keep just tweaking it as they grow. Excuse me, sorry. So for my music, I'm giving examples so that you can see how easy it is to transition between these seasons and just make everything work. Your spirit, for example, my spirit, I commit to worshiping with different playlists from time to time. What this does to me is that I'm not lost on any kind of music. So if you come to my laptop now, you see that I put faith songs, you see that I put worship songs, you see that I put hip hop songs, danceable songs and all of that. So I just commit to worshiping with different playlists on my laptops. Maybe in the morning, sometimes in the evenings, when I just feel like listening to anything, because I just want my spirit to be rich, and I also don't want to lose out on the terms, on the most of the music waves in this time. For my voice being intact, one thing I do is I carry a bottle of water everywhere. I have a backpack. Everybody that knows me knows that I don't use handbags. I rarely use handbags. I'm always carrying a backpack, whether with native cloth or my backpack, so my water is inside so that I can stay hydrated. I did that because when I noticed that the moment I started giving attention to drinking water, I stopped losing my voice anyhow. It might be stressed, but it doesn't go completely like it used to. So I carry a bottle of water. I have a bottle in the shop, it's there, permanent. I have a bottle on my table, it's there. I have a bottle in the kitchen. Anywhere I can just drink it, So that's that. So building my brand, that is the professional outlook of my music brand, I make at least one post on my media platforms daily. I want to be there. I want to be active there, whether it's building my following or not, as people say. But I'm active because I know that he that is diligent in his work will stand before kings. I know that will stand before kings, and it's working for me. So I'm building my brand. I'm ensuring that I'm there. If you go to my page, you see that I have like 2,000 and something posts. And then if you look at it vis-a-vis my followers, you'll be wondering, when this woman start Facebook and all that. But see, it's a matter of time. Just be consistent in what you do. All right. So relationships. What are your support systems? What are your support systems? Don't be a loner. All right. What are your support systems? One of these I want to say, okay, we'll get there. Your helpers, your delegates, your friends, your mentees, your mentors, communities. Some of you are just in communities, you're just there, or you've been there for 1 year, 2 years, you didn't network, there's nobody there that you can pop on and say, so what's the purpose of being in that community? What's the purpose? So marriage, for example, you should have go-to marriage platforms. Just go to marriage platforms that you can read things from. Go to marriage blogs that you can gain knowledge from. All right. Go to marriage Instagram pages that that is the real thing that they are saying there. So, and again, once you learn something, for example, me, I'm quick to test what I learn and then innovate in my marriage. I'm quick to test what I learn. I'm this is good though. Let me try this out. And I try it. It works, I stay with it. If it doesn't work, I throw it away. So e.g., for example, one of the ways that I involved my husband into my music is I granted him the permission to be my greatest critic of anything I do as far as my music is concerned. Anything. I do one song, he will be among the first people that I will send it to. After the music producer or my music director, I will send it to him, wherever he is in the world. Oh yeah, I'm waiting for his feedback. Until he gives me his feedback, his genuine feedback, I don't do anything about it, because I believe that is one of the ways that you show them that they are also important as far as your music life is concerned. Don't push them out aside. So if you're here, you're not even married, you're in a relationship, this is the time to start involving him, or her in your work. All right, so that's one. He's my greatest critic. I finished administration in church, I'm like, how was that? It's not about being low, it's about my style of getting him involved, letting him know that your opinion counts to me, and I trust everybody's opinion. Everybody else can be telling me, awesome, but he will see what I didn't do right. All right, so what I did was I leveraged on his love for general music, to foster our bond. So what I'm saying there to you is that you need to understand that music is a soul, is a soul. Music is a universal language for every being. There's rarely anybody that doesn't love music or that does not connect with music. So on that ground, you have an advantage to also use it, to connect and build a healthy marriage relationship. So I carry him along on every invitation I get. I don't assume, even though I know the answer will be yes, I don't assume that it's is a no. And even if he says a no, I just say, okay, why? Can I know, so at least next time I'm better enlightened on what to look out for before saying yes and all of that. So that's in terms of relationship, how I'm managing that side. Don't leave them out, whether big decisions or small decisions, as far as your music ministry and career is concerned. Don't leave them out. In terms of your music, again, I'm saying that, okay, your choir, your music team is a gift from God to you. Many times people don't leverage the resources. You're in a team for 1 year and you are still only relating with the tenor. You're a tenor singer, it's only your guys you relate with. For 1 year, you have no interpersonal relationship with your entire team. You have no interpersonal relationship with your keyboardist, your drummer, the saxophonist, nothing. Not good. It's a strong community that you must leverage on. Your helpers are there. Yeah, your friends, they are there. So begin to see it like beyond the singing. God gave me this place for a greater good. So for your relationship with your children and all of that, your kids are part of the relationship you have. Involve them. Involve them. So I'm saying here that when you do involve them, they love it. Ask them, okay, what do you think about my new song? How do I, when my kids are describing how I minister, you'll be wondering, be like, am I like that? Yes, mommy. But we like it though, it's okay, things like that. So involve them, get ideas from them. I use my kids a lot. So my children have a very strong sense of fashion than I do. It's in my bloodline actually, but I'm the lowest in that kidda. So they have a strong sense of fashion than I do. Before I do anything, my first daughter will ask me, what are you wearing? So I was like, okay, it makes it easy. What should I wear? And they'll tell me. They have saved me several times. So, okay, what are you wearing? You're going for that mission. Mommy, what are you wearing? Involve them. Let them be your third eye. Involve them from small. Yeah, that's when they'll have that liberty with you. Let them be your third eye. Involve them, okay? All right, so active planning. This speaks to crafting what your day will look like. Hello. Active planning. This speaks to crafting what your day will look like. and taking action as at when due.